Till it, did he go out of business then?
Well, they did. Well, I got married. You know, when I got married, I was working at National Plastics in Odenton.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working in the molding shipping department. And that was just where these machines would pop out all these different things, and then I would go up on a forklift and pick them up and bring them down to where we were, and we weighed them. Actually, not weighed them. We had a scale that was a counter that you would set this thing on, and it would tell you how many pieces were in it. And then we would ship them out. While I was there, a neighbor of Carolyn's mom and dad, he worked at American Bank Stationery on Pulaski Highway. He was a plate maker. It was a lithographing company.
They make checks and
checks
stuff.
and stuff. So he said there was an opening for a helper, and I wanted to get into an apprenticeship. So I went up and applied for the job, and I got it. I guess the only downside I would say, you started making $1 an hour. But I worked the night shift, so I got $1.10 an hour.
Working 35 hours a
And
week.
it was a 35-hour week. And let's see, Billy was born, and Carolyn,
And I was pregnant late, wasn't it?
yeah, she did some part-time work, but you know. But anyway, I was there for 18 months, and I was up to like $2.25 an hour, making big money. And I was next in line for an apprenticeship, and I got laid off. So I was collecting unemployment. I think I collected unemployment for 2 weeks. It was the only time in my life I collected unemployment, I believe. But I was working a little bit with Pop down at the apartments, painting and doing stuff like that. And then I
My
went.
dad managed apartment building,
Where at? Baltimore?
Annapolis.
Annapolis,
Okay.
Maryland Avenue.
I have memories of that. It was kind of like an apartment in that you went in sort of
Yeah.
a courtyard, and there was an
Yeah.
apartment in there
Yeah.
between. It was
Well, there
low.
were three buildings. Yeah. It's right at B3, Maryland Avenue.
Yep.
And then it was 2 Maryland Avenue, and then another apartment house, and there was a space between those two. Then there was like a big Victorian home
Okay.
next to that. We lived in a little stucco place in the back.
Yeah.
Is where we lived.
Was it one floor?
Yes.
Because I remember that. I remember it being low and
Yeah.
down in there. Yeah. Before they moved in Carol's house.
Yes. We moved down there in 56. So anyway,
I only lived there in the summers because I was in college. And when I wasn't in summer school, I'd come down home and get a job and stay there for a short time.
back in the olden days.
In the olden days, yeah.
Could you see the wall of the Naval Academy from there? Was it close enough that you were almost
Yeah.
touching?
Well, you couldn't actually see it from our house, except if you looked down the alley, because there were buildings all around.
Yeah,
it.
but it was up against the
It
academy.
was right there. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Probably half a block
it would actually.
to the wall.
Well, it was the width of a street from the. This,
Oh, from the building,
this
yeah.
is the one on the corner. This is Hanover Street, Maryland Avenue. Gate 3 is right here. Then there's another building here, and that Victorian home would be here.
And where was your house?
We drove up
I
the
remember
alley,
that. Okay, I remember
and
that.
it was right back in here.
Yep.
This building in the alley, right here, when we moved in, was Thorpe Chevrolet.
Thanks.
When did they move out of that? What year?
Want any more coffee?
No, thank you.
I want to say somewhere in the 60s, because when I went to work at Shoetown in 62, and they were still there then.
Because I was there and I was born in '63, so it had to have been after that.
I'm going to say the late 60s, somewhere in there. I was born in 1898.
You probably don't remember that.
I was born in 1898, so He worked there until 68, he would have been 70 years old at that time. And then when he moved in, they moved in with Carol, he still worked, he went to work at Sandy Point.
Remember that.
And he worked in the shops down there repairing stuff or whatever they needed done.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I think Dad told me a story where they kept having to buy parts for the mowers and all that kind of stuff, and he told him there was a forge.
He was working at the time selling fishing licenses down on the water.
well, it could have been, he was doing different things there.
But then he got the forge running
But he
again.
did, he
Yeah.
worked, he did,
Yeah.
he
He told the
repaired
guy,
stuff
said,
in
I
the-
can fix
like
those
in the
for you.
maintenance department. So, but then he died at 77. And he was about a month and a half from being 80.
Yeah.
He had that ruptured aorta. You should have a check that's hereditary. I get mine checked every 2 years.
How do they do that?
They do it.
A dye thing? Oh, they do
Ultrasound?
ultrasound.
Ultrasound, because Uncle Tom just had a problem with it last, about a year, he had to have stents put in and everything.
Okay.
And he's got a form of leukemia
How's
too.
Tom doing, by the way?
Did you hear what I said? He has a form of leukemia.
I knew that, but I didn't know how bad it
Okay,
was.
it's-
Yeah.
It's nothing. Doctor told him you're not gonna die from it.
Just maintenance.
Yeah, whatever, he said, so.
It's not the hard form.
No, he said, I don't know what strain it is, but,
He seems to be taking it okay.
he takes it okay.
Oh, did you go straight to Bell Avenue from there, or did you live somewhere else?
No,
in
no,
town?
no. When we got married, we had an apartment down in Point Pleasant. Carolyn found it, and it was right around the corner at the bottom of the point, actually.
It's across from the Point Pleasant Beach Inn or JJ's?
Yeah,
somewhere
well, it's,
around
no, JJ's.
there? JJ's, right.
It was a little duplex. It was like $68 a month, I think. But that included everything. And,
$2 a day.
well, when you ain't making much money.
That's right.
It depends on how big your pocketbook is. Anyway, so, we moved in there in June, we got married in 1960, and, her grandfather passed away about, I think he died in,
August 2nd,
he died in August, right?
August 2nd.
August 2nd. And grandma lived down the point, and they were on the water, so she was alone. And she was close to her grandmother, so we moved in with her.
That was the Bronner's house, right?
No, it was grandma's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Same
was-
house?
Yeah, it was brother's house. They
When
bought
I-
it. Anyway, it was 2 acres, about 2 acres of property with that. And it was, I think it was 85 feet of waterfront on the Marley
And
Creek.
Aunt Tilly's was next door.
And I think the Broners bought that for $12,000.
$10,000 bucks.
$10,000.
Couldn't buy a pier for that.
When I went to work at the Restless Island Steel, I was 16, because all the men were in the service, you know.
Yeah,
And we worked 11.5-hour shifts.
right.
And I think I started at 62 cents an hour.
That's good
And then
money.
it went to 68, and then 72, and then 85 or something like that. And the top scale on the job was $1.02.50, and I finally made it at the $1.02.50. But I earned about $55 a week
That's good money.
because we worked 11.5 hours.
That was
you know.
good money back in
You
the
told me
day.
when you got your first teaching job, you took a pay cut
Oh,
from the
yeah.
steel mill.
Oh, my, yeah.
You know
I-
why I became a teacher?
My
3
teaching,
reasons.
Yeah, I know those.
You
Yeah,
know that?
June, July, and August.
my
right?
first teaching job was $2,000 a year.
Yeah, and you said that was a pay cut from the mill.
Oh, yeah. And then it went up to 2,200 the second year. Got $200 raise. Then it went up to 2,400. And then everything changed. I think I went up to 3,000 after that because they began to pay teachers a little better. After 39 years of teaching, when I retired, I was still not making 40,000 a year. I was making 39,000 or something like that.
Wow.
That's big money.
No, it wasn't. Not compared education-wise and otherwise. You know, if you compared an educated teacher to an educated engineer or anything else, they were getting about half pay.
Wow.
Teachers have always been underpaid.
Well, that's because there's too many.
Hmm?
There's so many.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't afford it. It's the biggest part of the county budget.